This video is about Parpariá Chios on maps from the medieval period. In 1346, the island, after a brief resistance, is reoccupied by the Genoese. To give you some perspective, the year 1346 is 142 years after the Fourth Crusade and 146 years before the discovery of the Americas. The Genoese turn over Chios to private investors to administer. This group of investors is called the Messαιώνα. The island is divided into several administrative districts. Parpariá becomes the head of the 5th district. In 1362, Lucino Negro is named the first captain of Parpariá Chios. He is also in charge of the village of Mesta. The earliest surviving map of the village of Parpariá on a map of Chios was from 1420 by Cristoforo Budolmonte. He was a Franciscan priest from Florence. In 1420, he published his second book, Liber Insularum Archipelagi. This book became the gold standard as several handmade facsimiles or copies were made. Several of these maps are in museums throughout Europe and in private collections. The map of Chios in his book not only contains Parpariá, but also contains the paleokatalimata, which means the old remains or remnants. The paleokatalimata was the precursor village to Parpariá. Paleokatalimata would be listed in different languages on different maps. It would be listed as Castro di Rupta in Italian, which means broken castle, Castris di Ruto in Latin, which means dismantled camp, and Gestes Demolit in French, which means demolished remains. The paleokatalimata were also known as Varvareso or Varvatho. The area of Varvathos also goes by the name of Aios Pandelemonas because of the chapel that exists in the middle of the valley. During the past 2 decades, I've visited Varvathos several times, including with elders from the village. They showed me where they remember some of the structures existed of the abandoned village. The next map where Parpariá appears is in 1489. The map is authored by Henricus Martellus Germanus. The book is based on Budolmonte's earlier maps, and Parpariá and the paleokatalimata are listed there as well. The next map where Parpariá appears is in a book by Tommaso Porcacci de Castiglione from 1576. In this map, Parpariá is found close to the sea, and Volissos is found north of Parpariá. Porcacci's book on islands is subsequently published several times. The next map where Parpariá appears is by a map by Abraham Ortelius in 1584. In his island maps called Archipelagi Insula Rum Alquot Descript, Parpariá is clearly listed on the Chios map. Several copies of these are made, some in color and some in black and white. The next map is from 1632 by Francesco Lupazzolo. In his mini book Breve Discorso y Ipografia del Isole des Archipelago, several copies are made. Some copies offer improvements. Included for the first time are the villages of Coruña, Jalandra, Tamarcu, Pispilunda, Spartunda, Fita, Siderunda, Piramá, Cambiá, Leptopoda, and Nenita, which represents Nenituria. Also included are the villages of Anavato and Ayogalas, also known as Ayos Thalenis, or as it's written on the map, Aiselini. The next map in the timeline for Parpariá is the 1650 Wilhelm Johannes Laurenberg map. It is entitled Insularum Archipelagi Septentrionalis Maris Aegae. A second Laurenberg map from 1661, without Parpariá on it, strongly resembles an anonymous map from the 16th century called Chios Insula in Mare Ionio. This map is presently being displayed at a Genoese museum. This map has Parpariá listed on it with a sketch. This map is from around 1680 by Johannes van Keulen. Several copies were made and published, including by his son and his grandson. The next map with Parpariá on the timeline is the 1686 Jacob Enderlin map. This 1688 map by Ulfr Dapper appears to be a Flemish version of a Tommaso Porcacci 1576 map. This last map is a copy of the 1420 Bundelmonte map, and as we can see, it reflects that on many, if not on all of its copies and translations, Parpariá and the ruins of the paleokatalimata are listed. These historical maps of Chios, with Parpariá and its precursor village listed, give substance to the oral traditions of the past, along with eyewitness accounts of where the abandoned village existed, corroborates the old maps and their descriptions. This video and others are for learning, preserving, and educating.